We left the known for the unknown. We came looking for opportunity. We came looking for a better future, searching for a dream. When I first started this film, I knew there was something to be told, but I never imagined how incredibly powerful this story would be.
My name is Hatso Vela. I'm a reporter here for Local 10 in Miami. You cannot talk about Miami without talking about Henry Flagler, who brought his railroad here to Miami. Without him, there would be no Miami. And with him, he brought thousands of tourists. Miami Beach was founded in 1915, but soon after, Miami Beach started booming. There was a building boom that drew people from the Northeast specifically that came here, not just because of the gambling, but obviously because of the weather. Then what changed Miami was 1959, when there was a revolution in Cuba and Fidel Castro took power. There were 4 Cuban waves of migration, one that started in the early 60s, one in the late 60s. Then we saw the Mariel boat lift, which was in 1980. And in 1994, we saw what they call the rafter crisis, where thousands came over on rafters. Of course, at the same time, we start seeing a migration from Central America, more specifically from Nicaragua in the 1980s, which is how I came here to Miami with my mother in 1987, in July 1st of 1987. Never thought I would be here in Miami 20, 30 years later, doing what I love passionately in my hometown.
This is a melting pot. Colombia, Lily, okay? She's Costa Rica, but she's not here.
My name is Antonio Revilla, and I am an immigration attorney. And what I do is I help people stay in this country. I mainly practice in the areas of what's called deportation defense, and I also help people naturalize, become citizens of this country. Immigration has had a powerful impact in Miami, starting in the 60s, 59, 60s, and that's when it really started with all these people from Cuba coming to the United States. Coming specifically, mostly to Miami. And what happened is that the fabric of Miami changed completely, because you had Miami being sort of a sleepy town, so to speak. Miami became more vibrant, it became a more magical city, and it's always been called the Magic City. And my belief is that the reason why it's called the Magic City is because of its people. Going from the 80s to the 90s, we had the Central Americans that came to this community. They once again added more diversity, and that's the beauty of Miami, is that we have people from all parts of the world, specifically more in reference to Latinos. And I really do believe that the migration during that time period really changed everything in Miami. It started the progression of something great.
Most places where you migrate to, there's always a bit of a phase where you have to adapt, and no doubt South Florida and Miami was like that, except that the difference here in South Florida is that you had the ability to connect with other people who were also from other places and had sort of similar immigrant experiences. It wasn't as tough for a 9-year-old boy like me to adapt to Miami. I think the biggest challenge was the language, learning the language, but in terms of culture, you were surrounded by a Latin culture that was sort of embracing of your background and your values and what you had to bring to the table. And so it was that sort of mesh of cultures that made it a little bit easier than it would have had I been living, let's say, in the Midwest or the West Coast.
My name is Raymond Adrian. I work for Unidad Miami Beach. It's an activity center for the seniors in the North Beach area. We also have the Hispanic Community Center that we also help with seniors of all ages for immigration. In 1964, if you see Miami, there was hardly nothing. It was hard for all of us here in that time. There was not so much opportunity. People talk about discrimination. At that time, there was a lot of discrimination going on. We moved to a house. We were the first Hispanic in that area. The funny thing is, about 2 days later, we saw a lot of houses for sale around us. People not knowing other people and the other cultures, they got afraid and panicked. And in the 1970s, things were getting better. Miami was growing. People were looking at Miami in a different way. They saw the big opportunity because they saw the beaches, they saw the Everglades. But what happened was in 1980, that was the Mariel.
Criticizing President Carter's handling of the Cuban refugee problem.
There was a lot of problems going on. Miami was getting a bad image, especially at the time with drugs and stuff like that.
I know that a lot of people view the Mariel boat lift as something negative on immigration and what happened here in South Florida. But the reality is there was some negative aspect of it, but the large majority of the people that came over during the 80s have contributed so much to this country and to our community. Our community once again changed, and it changed for the better with the Mariel boat lift and the people that came during the 80s from Cuba. And the beauty of that is that those people blended into the fabric of Miami, blended into the community to make Miami even more vibrant, even more diverse.
Arguably, the cocaine traffic business in Miami is a dark part of Miami's history. But at the same time, if you look at it, it changed the way Miami was or the way Miami is, because not only did it bring an influx of money, it brought people and it brought this allure that Miami is sort of a place where you go to play, work, and live, and you can really succeed. It is a past that we have to look at, study, and then use as a way to move forward into the future.
The impact that Latinos have had on the Miami real estate market is undeniable. You can argue that Latinos laid some of the foundation for what you see today. To understand the city, we need to take a look back. We need to go to the 1960s when the first immigrants arrived to Miami on what they used to call the freedom flights, the beginning of a huge demographic change for the city. Fast forward to the 1980s when the second wave of Latin immigrants arrived to the city, when the drug trade exploded, and 95% of the drug being smuggled into the United States came through Miami. Billions of dollars were injected in Miami's economy at the time. Where did this money go? The majority of it, real estate. In 1 year, South Florida banks reported a surplus of over $6 billion in cash deposits.
In terms of financial impact, you're looking at, I've seen different figures, but you're looking at $20 billion a year that the cocaine trade brought, right? So what does this mean? At some point they say that banks could not keep up with the amount of cash that was coming into South Florida.
And who was managing this money? Pablo Escobar? I doubt it. A lot of that money stayed here in South Florida. You have huge condo projects that were funded at the time, which helped shape Brickell, Miami Beach, Aventura.
Some people say that it made Miami into what it was or to what it is. The buildings that you see in Miami were funded by the cocaine trade.
From a real estate perspective, it was very exciting. That momentum that was started during that time echoes to this day. So even though the 1980s were a dark time for Latinos, in reality it set the tone for opportunity, for what you see today.
People buying 1, 2, 3 different homes in the most expensive neighborhoods, having luxury cars everywhere, which has sort of brought the identity of what Miami is, right? The rich, the famous, the ability to own anything you want. Some say that that's what cocaine did for Miami in the 80s.
Developers, a lot of outside businesses, big companies recognized Miami after the 1980s and started coming in and investing, building bigger projects. And you see all these oceanfront properties, luxury homes. Because of that, Miami is now considered one of the top most important cities for the world's wealthiest.
Every great civilization consists of immigrants. And our community is a great place to live, and it is a great civilization to be in because of the Latinos in our community. They come here to work hard. They contribute to our society, they contribute to our community, they contribute to our businesses. Look around. Miami is what it is because of our immigrant population.
Calle Ocho is what we call it down here, but it translates to 8th Street, the center, the heart of Miami Latin culture. Here you'll find Hispanic stores, Latin stores, cigar shops, barber shops, restaurants, bars, anything Latino you want, you find here on Calle Ocho. When you think about Little Havana, just think about the name, Little Havana. It's really the first neighborhood that embraced Cuban migrants in the 60s. And since then, we've seen waves of different migrants come and go. We see Nicaraguans, we see Salvadorians, we see people from all of Latin America settle here first. If you want to get that convergence of the Latin experience here in Miami, all you have to do is once a year come to the Calle Ocho Festival. That's where you get a mix of fashion, food, and music all combined into one. All you have to do is walk block after block here on Calle Ocho and you'll see that Latin experience. You'll see people dancing, you see people playing music, and you really absorb the true nature of Miami. Calle Ocho, all you have to do is walk down and you run into those businesses that give you a sense that you're in Miami, whether it's a barber shop or a cigar shop that really is a transplant of Cuban culture here in Miami.
My name is Peter Bello, fourth generation of the Bello cigar family, CEO of Cuba Tobacco Cigar Company in Little Havana. We had been here in Little Havana for over 20 years manufacturing premium cigars. This happens to be the oldest cigar factory out of Little Havana. This company started in 1896 with my great-grandfather that immigrated from Canary Island, Spain to Cuba. We grow our own Cuban seed tobacco in Dominican Republic, Honduras, Nicaragua. The reason we use those countries because the soil and the weather is very similar to the one we had in Cuba. The cigar rollers that work for us, they have at least 10 to 15 years of experience rolling cigars. They learn in Cuba, and they continue rolling cigars using the same techniques that they used to use in the old country. As a kid, I used to devein tobacco for the family back in Cuba. So my playing fields was not a park, it was tobacco fields. Instead of playing games with the kids, I would be with the family learning the trade. Learning the techniques from my grandfather. One of the techniques that we use actually came from my great-grandfather is to cure the tobacco in Spanish red wine to get rid of the bitterness and the aftertaste. So we still like to do everything the old-fashioned way. We immigrated to the United States in 1970. It was kind of hard at the beginning because we didn't know the language, we didn't know how to get around. I feel a lot of pleasure walking in here every day. It takes a lot of years of experience and a lot of family secret techniques to be able to produce a premium cigar. And that's really my private joy. I love this business. I can never see myself doing anything else but cigars. And if I'm not here at the cigar factory directing the production, I would be in the tobacco fields. I'm also a tobacco farmer. We have a lot of customers that a lot of times they come here to Miami to have some of the boxes that they purchase here at the factory signed by my father, Pedro Bello Sr., which was the winner of the Crystal Eagle Award in 1998. That would be like winning an Oscar in the cigar industry as one of the best cigar makers in the world.
I've traveled all around the United States. There is no place like Miami where you can get a little bit of salsa, merengue, where you can get bachata. Now reggaeton is making a huge entrance into the music scene. Where else can you get that but Miami? You can't go to California. Possibly you can get it in New York, but nowhere can you get it the same way you can get it like Miami, because the people who come from these cultures make it better and bigger.
My name is Catherine TatuBaby Flores. My whole family is Colombian, and I've been tattooing professionally for 8 years. I got started tattooing at the age of 13. It wasn't until I was 15 years old that I actually went and started working at a shop. I wanted to do it professionally. I wanted to grow. I just didn't want to be any regular tattoo artist that did names and little flowers and cherries. I wanted to do the difficult stuff. I wanted to do portraits. I wanted to be well known for what I did. And I want to do that with my Colombian culture. Just the other day, I got to tattoo a Colombian sleeve with the Colombian sombrero and the Colombian girl and our national drink. So it's definitely something very important to me that not only just be a female tattoo artist, but to show my roots. I mostly categorize my style as photorealism. It doesn't matter color or black and gray. I've just always had an eye for catching details, and it translates great. My mom always used to tell me, if you're gonna do something, try to do it the best that you can. So when I decided to become a tattoo artist, I knew I did not just want to be any regular tattoo artist that tattooed for money. I wanted to be known, I wanted to be great, I wanted my work to be amazing. And I knew that I had to put a lot of hard work and dedication to it. It wasn't until I was 24 years old that I got the opportunity to be part of Ink Masters on Spike TV. That is an amazing opportunity for a young upcoming artist because now the whole world is gonna see what I am capable of. I wanted to go and represent a Latino female tattoo artist. It was a competition show. Of course, I was nervous and I knew that I was up against many great artists, but it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to show what I was capable of. The response that I got from people was amazing. To this day, they play Ink Master in a lot of Latino countries. I get so many emails from, young girls saying that I inspire them, and I don't think there's a crazier, better feeling than that. Now they know I am a young Latino female tattoo artist and I can do great work.
Mi nombre es Pedro Pablo Peña, soy el director del International Ballet Festival of Miami and the Cuban Classical Ballet of Miami. Actualmente también director general del Miami Hispanic Cultural Center, una nueva sede que permite el desarrollo de las artes hispanas en la ciudad de Miami. La ciudad de Miami ya está ofreciendo un mayor desarrollo a la cultura. Se está viendo una actividad mayor cultural. Me recuerdo que cuando yo llegué en los años 80, las actividades culturales no eran las suficientes. Y yo siempre me pregunté, ¿por qué una ciudad que tiene tanto empuje como Miami, particularmente porque es de interés turístico para muchas otras ciudades y para otras partes del mundo, no tiene un impacto fuerte a nivel cultural? Y creo que todos nosotros los que hacemos arte nos hemos dedicado un poquito a lograr esto. En este caso, yo lo pude lograr a través del Festival Internacional de Ballet de Miami. Miami no tenía un festival de ballet y hoy en día ya está considerado el festival más successful de los Estados Unidos. Tenemos nosotros un compromiso no solamente de pasión y de amor a nuestra carrera, sino un compromiso con nuestra ciudad, en este caso en la ciudad donde vivimos. Después me di a la tarea igualmente también de hacer el Cuban Classical Ballet de Miami. El Cuban Classical Ballet de Miami ofrece una oportunidad para los bailarines que recientemente se exilian, que puedan tener un espacio donde poder crecer, donde poder desarrollar sus carreras y donde poder no solamente desarrollarlas, sino continuarlas. Las personas que vienen a la ciudad de Miami pueden encontrar una ciudad completamente diferente. Una ciudad que no solamente tiene un empuje turístico, sino también cultural. Aquí se celebra, como todo el mundo sabe, el Art Basel, que es uno de los grandes eventos culturales de la ciudad a nivel de todo lo que es pintura, de todo lo que es las artes plásticas.
Bom, meu nome é Eduardo Cobra, eu sou da cidade de São Paulo, no Brasil. Estou para o terceiro ano participando aí de Arte Basel. Estamos produzindo esse mural, que é uma continuação daquela primeira parte, que foi feita há 2 anos atrás. Conseguimos a permissão com o Mr. Branch, que também é um colaborador. O tema desse mural deu uma chance à paz. Eu venho de um bairro da periferia de São Paulo, um bairro chamado Campo Limpo. Estou pintando nas ruas há 25 anos. E Miami é um lugar que sempre inspira meu trabalho, em especial Wynwood. Acredito que o Wynwood é uma energia muito boa, muito especial, porque são vários artistas de várias partes do mundo que se encontram aqui e que voluntariamente doam a sua arte para a cidade, melhorando e contribuindo para a popularização da arte pública, utilizando os murais como suporte, transformando o Wynwood numa grande galeria de arte. Então, para mim é sempre uma satisfação poder voltar aqui junto com a minha equipe, com o Kleber que está aqui, com o Aguinaldo e com o Marcos que me acompanhou este ano na produção deste painel que tem quase 100 metros de comprimento.
Hay una realidad verdadera que es que yo creo que el impacto hispano cultural en esta ciudad cada día se hace más evidente y nosotros los hispanos nos sentimos orgullosos que hayamos podido podido tomar esa posición de luchadores, de emprendedores y demostrar el nivel que tenemos, la excelencia que tenemos como creadores, como artistas. Yo creo que eso hace muy meritorio en la labor que todos nosotros los hispanos hacemos a través de la cultura en esta ciudad.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy your journey into bass.
I remember New York motherfuckers coming down here and being like, yo, forget Miami and that booty music and all that bullshit. And, you know, New York, son, the real hip-hop, that's where it's at, da-da-da-da-da. Until all them New Yorkers were at a club one night, and I would drop a Miami Booty Shake record, and all the girls would lose their mind and start ass shaking, booty popping. All the New York, yo son, yo this booty music, son, yo, this shit's the shit, son. When you got 3 or 4 girls around you, you change your mind real quick. But it's funny to see what Miami has evolved to musically. Because before, it wasn't cool to be from Miami. You know what I'm saying? 2 Live Crew, Luke, myself, we were the ones making records. I'm here to rock you steady. And not getting the respect that we deserve. But at the end of the day, now everybody wants to be from Miami. Everybody wants to come to Miami. Miami's a melting pot of everybody. And I think that's why Miami's so different from any other place in the world, for that matter. Welcome to the city where the ladies have beautiful asses, and this is what we do. Welcome to Miami.
It's your chica Evie. I do radio here in Miami on Power 96, 6 to 10 p.m. Part of the night show, having fun, wilding out, and make sure the Miami streets are having fun with me too. Clearly, Miami is not Miami unless you have Latinos. And the cool thing about Miami is that you have different type of influences. Of course, you got the Cubanos, you got the Cubans here, but you've also got people from Venezuela, you got Mexicans here. Some people don't think of Miami and Mexicans. You got Puerto Ricans, you got those Dominicanos. So all these different cultures that have different foods, but kind of the same foods. We all have the rice, we all have the beans, we all have the meat. We cook it differently. We dance the same, but we dance differently. It's kind of crazy how we're different and we're from different cultures, but we're all the same at the same time. And Miami is that melting pot, a mixture of everything, +5, +10, and that's us, Miami, 305.
My name's Don Dinero, and my relationship with Miami dates back to when my dad moved out to Hialeah in 1975. The beautiful thing about Miami is the influence and the cultures that combine and clash. It's incredible in Miami, and if you've been to Miami, you know what I'm talking about. But the beautiful thing about Miami is that it's a hub. It's a hub for people to come together who are looking for new opportunity and a different lifestyle. There's a way of life out here. And wearing coats and scarves is not the way of life. It's about relaxing, living your life, making money, and enjoying your freedom.
Malas intenciones y yo sigo en lo mío, mi vida son canciones y yo sigo guerreando y tengo mis razones y que yo perdone.
Being in Miami, man, the culture, the flavor, how it influences your music, the character, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I'm doing this interview now. I just flew in this morning. It's fucking cold up north. And the minute you get to Miami, you smell that air, you see these beautiful women, it just changes your perception of life, you know? Miami has an incredible influence in my music. When you listen to Pana Pana and the songs that I've created, this whole Latin hip-hop movement that I've tried to push, Miami is a vocal point, is what I call the hub. Miami is the hub for all Latinos. My first song was Pana Pana. Pana Pana was basically talking about the whole struggle of my dad coming here and looking for that American dream. So Miami has had an incredible impact on my music, on my style, on who I am, and I'm grateful for that, because without Miami I wouldn't be Don Dinero, I wouldn't be the man I am today.
The man in the backwards cap or the sideways cap is one of the most popular guys in Major League Baseball, amongst Major League Baseball players that very few people know about. That is Hugo, the barber. And he has a barber shop set up here in Miami, and players from around baseball will wait until they get here to let Hugo cut their hair. In fact, some players have brought him to All-Star games, World Series, brought him in to cut hair. His nickname is Juice.
His nickname is Juice. His name is Hugo Tandrone. I know him very well. I've been to his house. I know his wife. I know his grandkids, his kids. Very long relationship with him, and he's one of the nicest men you'll ever meet.
My name's Juice, born and raised here in Miami. Parents came from Cuba when they were young, located to Miami in the early 60s. I am the owner and CEO of Heads Up Barbershop in Miami Gardens, Miami Lakes. I am the official barber of the Miami Marlins and Major League Baseball. My mom was a beautician, and she always had clippers laying around the crib, and I said, well, fuck, man, all these cats out here getting haircuts, you know, they go somewhere. Maybe I learned how to do this shit. You know, I had a decent little job, you know, working at a warehouse, and but I need to make money, man, so I started taking my clippers to the bathroom at the warehouse. And I started cutting on co-workers in the bathroom. And pretty soon, dude, I used to get home from work, and I had cars lined up in the front, and then they were like, yo, Juice, I was here first. Hey, Hugo, I was here. Hey, I'm after this dude, I'm after that dude. I mean, it was like a snowball effect. It just got bigger and bigger. Basically, that's how it started, man. And, you know, we bought a house in 1990 right here in Carroll City. And that's where I started doing the majority of my cuts in the utility room, which was, I had the dryer, I had the washer, and I mean, I'm talking about, it was like, fuck, it was a tiny little room. It didn't always have what I have right now. You know, it was a lot of work, a lot of commitment, a lot of sacrifices to get where I'm at today. I caught a good break with one of my homeboys, and I want to give a big shout out to my boy CO. He hooked me up with Gary Sheffield, and he became a good client of mine, and that was in 1993. Next time he came, he brought me another dude from the Marlins, and the time after that, that other dude brought me another dude from the Marlins, and pretty much by the time you know it, 1997, I had pretty much majority of the whole roster from the Marlins. In 1998, they called me in to come cut at the clubhouse in the Marlins. I'm the only one in history to have a real registered and licensed barbershop inside a Major League ballpark, which I'm at now, you know what I'm saying, at the Miami Marlins ballpark. During the playoffs, I travel to different cities, you know what I'm saying, to go cut different Major League ball clubs. And you know, that's a great feeling, man, you know, from the heart. You know, when people come, because I deal with a lot of people that come from out of town, and they're like, man, well, I gotta go get some Cuban food. Shit, you got Hialeah, you got Little Havana, you know? You want Dominican food, or you go to Alapata. You know, you want some Puerto Rican food, you know, you can find that over there in Wynwood. Wherever you want. The culture in Miami is so big. You have so much to pick from here. Everybody always tell me, hey, you had fun when you went to Arizona? You had fun when you went to LA? I said, it's great, but damn, dog, it ain't Miami though, man. You come from the best of the best, so everything is gonna be second best to Miami.
Had I come to the United States, to another state, I likely would have never grown up on fritanga other than what my mother cooked. Where in the world can you go and get fritanga? No other place does it better than Miami, and Cuban food as well. I grew up on Cuban food, and it's one of my favorite. I can't go anywhere without looking for Nicaraguan and Cuban food because it's absolutely the best.
Definitely my favorite Latino-owned business is a bakery. Hello! Who the heck does not love some Cuban coffee, café con leche, and some bread or some sweet stuff on your tongue? Not only do you get, you know, your coffee and your cakes and pastelitos and all that stuff for birthday parties, but there's a sense of community inside those bakeries. People share stories, people talk about their kids, and even though it's a big city in Miami, whether you go to Calle Ocho, whether you're in Carroll City part of Miami, everybody from the neighborhood goes there, and you're a family for that one moment. Whether you have different jobs or whether you have different families, you're an extended family, and I think that's pretty cool because it keeps you united as a people.
Our diversity between our food and our music. When I tell you salsa music, you think Puerto Ricans. When I tell you cumbia, you think Colombians. When I tell you merengue, bachata, you think Dominicans. Banda music, the Mexicans, you know? And that's kind of what it is, you know? There's different regions, but at the same time, we're one big gang, and it's called Latinos.
Miami to me is who I am, where my family comes from. Every Sunday, me and my family would hang out at my abuelita's house. She just turned 99 years old. She's Puerto Rican. I'm Puerto Rican and Mexican. We go and make a specialty dish because she's like, you guys are all gonna make sure, in Spanish, she tells me, you guys are gonna all make sure that you understand and you know where you come from. So we get like a lesson every Sunday on what to cook. The people, the different languages, the different ways people speak Spanish here, because you can be Puerto Rican and speak to a Cuban and you're like, what did they say? That to me tells me exactly what Miami is all about. We're all of that. We're everything, baby. This is 305.
The drugs arrived in 2 shipments from Honduras. They were bound for a Florida picnic table
Federal,
company.
state, and local agents say they diverted the cash from a massive money laundering operation intended to turn drug profits from Miami.
Members of the world's largest cocaine smuggling organization.
Perfect opportunity to show that Miami has more to offer than drugs, refugees, and riots.
This city was built on drugs.
Streets of Miami's riot-torn areas.
In the 80s, this was a war zone. People were killing each other over drug deals. People were trying to come up any way, anyhow.
My father, he was a drug dealer, and Miami was also brought up in drugs. Unfortunately, this is what it is. As a Colombian and coming from where I came from and how I grew up, we were constantly stereotyped with drugs, not only for being Colombian, but for being from Miami.
You know, not everybody that came in the Mario boat lift, you know, were bad. You know, people came down here, and these are people with power now, you know what I'm saying, and did it the right way, legit. And so it's a notion, you know, that everybody think that whoever came from you know, whoever was a Marielito were bad, you know, because it really wasn't like that.
When you break down Miami, the Magic City, I mean, let's be honest, man, this city was built on cocaine. You know, when you see the city and all the beautiful things, and you go to South Beach and you see all these buildings and all these condominiums, the economy has been uplifted by this black market money, this non-taxable money that cocaine has brought to Miami and has built Miami. That's just a fact. 1979, 1980, Jimmy Carter and Fidel Castro, they did a pact, you know. Jimmy said, listen, you guys are communists. I will take anybody in your country that wants to come to our country, just send them on, we'll take them. He went back and he emptied out all his prisons. He emptied out as many people who wanted to come get your families, and that was called the Maria boat lift.
Noon today, 23 boats filled with over 800 Cubans reached Key West, Florida.
I'm sure everybody seen them other documentaries on, the cocaine and all that, and when Miami was built. Man, I lived through that shit. You know what I'm saying? I was born in 1970, so I was pretty much, aware of a lot of things that were going on in the late 70s. When them Mighty Lethals came to Miami, man, that's when they fucking popped the fuck off. Because that fool there, man, he don't flush the toilet and let everybody go to Miami, and whoever he ain't want, he sent over to Miami.
There's a huge crime wave that started happening because in a country that has so much abundance, then there's a lot to steal. But that's when the whole movie Scarface pops up and you start to see where a lot of these guys started selling drugs. That's when the Colombians come in. Colombians are the only ones in the world that manufacture the best cocaine, and Pablo Escobar in Colombia at that moment start to expand his distribution and says, man, I need to sell cocaine everywhere. Miami becomes the hub. All the cocaine around the country starts to come to Miami because it was a lot easier at that time to bring it through boats or fly it in. And Miami ends up being in the early 80s, mid 80s, most of the 80s to the early 90s, the hub where all the cocaine, you want cocaine, you want a good deal, you come to Miami. But that one coca leaf has changed hip-hop culture. Look at all you rappers right now in the world start talking about, I'm in love with the coco, I'm in love with this. Where the cocaine come from? Man, Latinos have their hand gripped like this on American culture.
Growing up, I understood that Miami was built on drugs, but all of that has changed. The impact of successful Latinos has changed that.
I mean, it's no secret that the core of Miami, where we started, was that dirty money. You see all these documentaries, the cocaine cowboys. I think every uncle or every aunt or every neighbor has a story of when they first came over here and how crazy things were, shootings left and right.
Something I have yet never talked about in any of my interviews is my youth and my upbringing. We deal with a lot of street violence. We deal with a lot of misguided youth, and unfortunately I was one of them. I was a young teen that hung out with the wrong crowd, and I was going down a wrong path.
When you're Hispanic, first thing they're gonna check is your status. If your status ain't up to par, your ass is out. You on that plane with that orange suit. I was always afraid of that because I grew up here, but I can't go back to my country because I have to start over.
It's hard in the streets, but it's not something we can't come out of, and music is our escape, and there's always something that we can do about it. It's nothing that we want to continue as far as the violence. It's nothing that we want to say, hey, we like what's happening, but hey, it's happening. There's always a bad side to everything, and yeah, we still have bad parts of Miami. We still have some drugs. We still have some violence. We still have all those things, but that doesn't necessarily define what Miami is and who Miami is right now and us as Latino people.
It wasn't until I decided to really put my all into my art that it became, how they say, my anti-drug, and my life started changing. All the bad friends started fading away.
Find a passion and find a calling, something that you love, and just go hard for it, you know what I'm saying? Just don't give up.
When the sun shines through my blinds, I know it's that time.
What time is it?
It's time to get up, and grind.
Let's go. Rise and shine, better wake up. It's time to get your cake up. Don't never let nobody hold you back from getting this paper. I done made a name in these streets, scuba high like the equator. It's about time I got some haters. I make sure they catching vapors. My CD one hell of a Quaker. Money can tall as skyscrapers, but it do yourself a favor.
It's hard out here, man. That's why we trying to make it out here, not to stay stuck in these streets. Where I'm coming from, La Havana, east side La Havana. Most of these parents down here, all of them are immigrants. They ain't got no type of citizenship. We just trying to make sure our family do good and see them happy. Music is the only way out for right now. It's the only option. that's God's giving me right now. Because these streets, I can't go back, can't turn to these streets. If these streets, they turn your back against you, you won't even know it. Your own friend. It's not like that. You work for all of this. We work for all of this. For somebody else to get it easily, this ain't no handout. My name Big Jones from Too Loud to Live. I'm here to entertain, make music, do whatever I can to make it out of these streets. Everybody has a dream. This is mine.
Since little kids, we throw rocks at these boats. 10 years old, throwing rocks. And this is the Miami River, where all the boats used to come through, import and outport all the motherfucking drugs. All 24 hours, it never stops.
Yo, this Rowdy Zay.
This Big Jumps
from La Havana, Miami, Florida.
Put it on.
Too Loud to Live.
Dominican, Cuban, Miami.
For Latinos, we out here. I moved out here in La Havana about 7 years old. Realized nothing but Cuban, Spanish shit going on. I'm Spanish myself, Dominican. First person I met right here when I moved to La Havana 7 years old. How long you been out here?
We've been out here. I was born and raised out here. My mom raised me, 4 brothers, 1 sister.
Basically a Latino community out here. Latinos, we always stay together like a family, you feel me? New York, for instance, they got a lot of Dominicans. Over here, it's all of us. Cubans, Central America, all that. Caribbeans, all that's out here. But when I came down here, I learned about another aspect of Spanish Latino food, you feel me? He's Cuban, so Banco Ite, a lot of Cuban shit.
That's all we eat.
You feel me? A lot of Cuban shit and nicas. There's a lot of nicas out here.
On top of fritangas over here in La Havana.
I didn't know what fritanga was. I didn't know what carne asada was.
That's a Nicaraguense restaurant.
Cacao. Y'all don't know about cacao. Cacao. I don't know what that is. It's like chocolate milk, some white chocolate milk. I don't know,
tastes like chocolate milk.
It's good to me. I learned that down here.
Developing story right now. One day after 2 teenagers were shot and killed in separate Miami-Dade neighborhoods.
Times here and there when I gotta get a little wash up, like a little limpieza to take all the rastro away from me. So I'm about to get into a fight or into a shootout or something right now. My bees pop, that means the next person is picking up my rap. My bees pop is for a reason. They protecting me.
Violence, man.
Murder rates.
That's bad. That's the negative part about it. But you know what happened?
Yeah, a week ago, my homeboy got dumped at the block. Like nothing. Just over business. But that's the street.
When you're young, growing up, you're trying to make money, do whatever you got to do. Sometimes you get locked up and fucked over, you feel me? So once you got that in your record, you can't really do nothing with yourself, you feel me? But continue doing what you was doing to get there. Me, myself, I went to school 1.5 years, 2 years, college. I already had a record. I figured, why finish doing college? I already got a record.
Yeah,
I finished school and then what?
Nothing.
I came back.
It's like it's no other option to do but be out here in the streets and slang, you feel me? And we family, man. We doing this music to get out of this, get out of the hood and see our family do good, you feel me? We don't want to be on the streets for the rest of our life. That's why we doing this music. I love being in the studio. I love doing music. Music makes me happy.
Too Loud to Live, man. That's us, man.
We put it on.
Put it on. It's a family. It's a real family since young.
Big unity. It's a big unity.
Giving good energy. That's what we're about.
And making good music.
Tryna build my market. Louis V leather seats on a nigga body. Lima's market shopping. Young nigga popping. Drugs everywhere. What you need, a nigga got it.
I'm on a money making mission, but I spend it like it's nothing. Why y'all niggas hating on my niggas out here hustling? We caught a couple charges cause we did it for the money. Hit the scene, popping bottles, all my niggas fine. Yeah, we spend it like it's nothing. Spend it like it's nothing.
Me, I'm a native of Wynwood, where there's a lot of drug dealing, a lot of killings, a lot of shit that don't get talked about. Jose Escobar, I'm a Dominican American, representing Wynwood Pro Squad all day, better known as Fat Pop. Where I'm from, it's predominantly Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, you understand? So, and us as Latinos in this community, we fought a lot of trials and tribulations. Like for instance, we went to a little school over here, Jose de Diego, and we used to have a splack of cracker there. Now ain't nobody from over here no crackers. All us Dominican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, whatever. So what the fuck you mean splack of cracker?
Chico had to get it in with them swamp boys, them boys from town, just to go to school, just to get a little reading, just to fuck with the teachers, just to go to school, just to catch a 77. You had to catch a 12 average and you had to catch a 7 average. I mean, take your pick, you had to get your ass whooping or not don't go to school. So what we did was we went into school, we took our ass whooping, we fought back, nigga, we got our respect.
And ever since then, we just had this chip on our shoulder, like ain't nobody gonna fuck with us because of this or that or nothing. And that's just how we live, you know, as Latinos. This is how we have a certain pride about ourselves. When it comes down to it, everybody stick together. It's harder for us. It's on every aspect. In sports, I played sports for many years, and my real name Jose, man. So when they hear about me on the field, man, what the fuck this Chico is? So I wasn't able to go to the All-Star games or be last to pick for this, and I was All-American. You understand? But still didn't get picked for the All-Star game because I didn't fit the personality or the personality of the game. What the fuck you mean, man? What the fuck you mean? I'm a person. The way I speak, people don't believe me saying that I'm Latino, but true story, first 5 of my years, I didn't even know how to speak English. My mom wanted me to fit in so much with society and fit in with the people that was around her because she's African American that she forced me not to learn how to forget how to speak Spanish because she couldn't talk to me, you know. And I am a Latino. I am Dominican. That's me. Period, point blank. Jose Escobar is for a reason. I take pride in being a Latino in the music industry, and a lot of people like to shy away from it. You see a lot of people like Kendrick Lamar who comes out and says, doesn't really come out as a Latino, but later on comes on and claim it just to grab that crowd.
Murder, sipping on that red rum. Trap open daily, I give a fuck if the.
And my Latino culture, it really is a fuel to my fire because it gives me a lot of motivation to prove people in general, society, people wrong about our culture, as in we can't make music or we make a certain type of music or we act a certain type of way. No, we are who we are.
Big square, oh yeah, it's real like that. You know the whole hood strap. You know Rick got them sticks and nigga Chino got the max.
I'm LMS, I'm an MC. I don't take that title lightly at all.
This little whack fucker is lackluster and lack structure.
Master of ceremony, moving the crowd.
It's like putting Charles Bronson against Charles Hamilton.
Last man standing, like-minded soldier, lyrical manslaughter, whatever you want to call it, either way. I rep Dave to earn my name, to earn my rep out here. It doesn't come easy.
1,000 thoughts to 1,000 pieces like a bear chew with a baseball bat.
When it came to rap and when it came to everything, it was already tough enough being a Latino in rap, you know what I mean? And then at the same time, to also be a Southern Latino rapping, they didn't know that there was Latinos out in Miami that had these bars, that had these abilities to be able to really wreck shop on the beat. They really didn't know that it was that gangsta out here. They didn't know that it was that hood out here. And at the same time, they didn't know that it was that real out here. They didn't know it was that lyrical. They didn't know it was that talented out here.
Hold it down for the 305. Cross the palm, we got a locked all right. That ain't even a half. I got a bad attitude, but I give it a gab. I got a silver tongue, and you gon' feel the funk in this track right here. You gon' feel it bump.
Especially in hip hop, it was the fact that it was us that really needed to show and prove. Not just showing and proving from, you know, a rap standpoint, not just showing and proving that we could rap in fucking English, but also showing to the rest of the country that, yo, the minute you came into Miami and you saw what was what with the Latinos out here and the way we got down on the mic, whatever you thought you knew about Chicos and Latinos and hip hop, you had to dead that shit.
It's not a nice look when a right hook has enough force to knock out your crew. I'm from Miami, chop you and hire me or dispose your body in fountain blue.
One thing about growing up in Miami, being Latino, being an MC, like, you get a chip on your shoulder. And for me, that chip on my shoulder was battle rap.
Get it, fool, cause you ain't all that. I'll leave your shoulders popped and your pimples leaking till you're pale blue and you straight fall flat. Eagle tucked in, I can see you bluffing. There's no heaters dumping, but I guarantee you something. If you proceed with fronting, you will leave with nothing but a mean concussion.
So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Art of War. This is what we do. lot of cats talk like they're about this, like they're the best in Miami or they're the best this, best that. Well, come to the ring. Step into the Art of War ring and really prove it. Because here there's no music, there's no beat, there's no rhythm to save you, there's no music to save you, to drown out if you sound bad or not, or if you fuck up a word or not. Here you can hear a fucking pin drop, but that's the whole point. It's on the strength of your bars, it's on the strength of your material. Sparks, top billion. That was a dope motherfucking battle. This is what we do. This is rap in its purest form because we're not just MCs, we're not just battlers, we're not just rappers, we're warriors. This is the 305. You want to talk about the real Miami, my niggas? This is the real Dade County right here.
I was going through a discography the other day because I had somebody updating it, and you know, we pretty much work with everybody from, you know, Lil Wayne, to Fat Joe, to Rick Ross, to The Game, Meek Mill, to Drake, to damn Pitbull, Lady Gaga, Wale, Busta Rhymes, Linkin Park, Gym Class Heroes, Queen Latifah, Mary J. Blige. This is the number. The names could keep going on and on. My name is Cool. One half of the production duo Cool and Dre out of the 305, North Miami, straight out of North Miami. We make music for a living, man. We've been doing the production thing in Miami for a minute. For me, being Hispanic and growing up in a Hispanic household, my dad would always play. He was in love. I mean, we're Venezuelan, half Venezuelan Italian, but he would always be playing these vallenato records, which is like Colombian music. When I heard, like, you know, old 70s Spanish soul records, I remember sampling some of those records for Fat Joe's early Fat Joe work. If you look up some of them samples, they're like all Spanish artists. But when you listen to the records, you think you're listening to R&B soul records, but they weren't Spanish. We fell in love with the live element. Most Spanish music, you still deal with a lot of live instrumentation, from live percussions to bongos to bass guitars, and especially with like bachata, you got a lot of guitar elements. So that came from listening to that music in my house, and inspired me and Dre to be like, yo, we gotta put some live elements on some of our production. The Latino presence, man, in Miami, can't go a day without, you know what I'm saying, acknowledging it. It is part of the culture. It is Miami. On the holidays like New Year's Eve, my mom would make these hallacas, you know what I'm saying? They're like tamales almost, you know what I'm saying? So I was always looking forward to the hallacas and arepas. Like I said, music has always been a passion of mine. I started out DJing in high school, and I would sell mixtapes, and I had my 2 cassette decks and copy, duplicate them shits, and do my own remixes at the house. I met Dre in high school, and we tried to do the R&B thing, you know what I'm saying? We tried to do an R&B group. We had a 4-man group. Came back to Miami with local like hospitals, and we would sing for certain kids at hospitals that were like terminal, you know what I'm saying, with like cancer and different things like that. And I'll never forget, there was one instant that we performed at, I forgot what hospital it was, but we performed as a group, and then this little girl was in the front, no hair, because she had like been fighting cancer for years. Young girl, she was like probably 11, 12 years old, and she was just smiling, you know what I'm saying, smiling. And 3 days later, our manager at the time, Nate, he was like, yo, you wouldn't believe what happened. The girl that was sitting in front of y'all, her mom came up to us, right, and basically was trying to get a recording of the show, the news feed, because her daughter passed away the day after, and she was like, she hadn't seen her smile in years till we performed for her. So I was like, so Jay was like, yo, I wonder if God put the group together for that purpose, you know what I'm saying, to make her smile, make that girl smile that one last time. But through that, me and Dre started getting serious with the production. We put money together, and we borrowed money, and we bought our first keyboard. It was an ASR 10 keyboard. Our man Robbie Rob was like, yo, Fat Joe's working on an album. He's looking for some beats. So we put like 50 beats on a CD. You know what I'm saying? But yo, give him everything. 2 days later, our man Rob called me. He's like, yo, Joe wants to meet y'all. He's like, he heard a beat on there that y'all did, and he said that's his favorite beat he's ever heard. I'm like, damn. So long story short, Joe comes out to Miami. He books a studio. We go to the studio. We meet Joe, and the rest from there is pretty much history. You know what I'm saying?
The DJ lads you see today, one's supposed to walk, was supposed to lay flat in a bed my entire life. 17 surgeries. And then after all them struggles, all that, what I lack in physical ability, I got personality. And it's been a wrap ever since. So welcome to my story. I told my old man, hey, buy me a set of turntables, a mixer, a microphone, and I promise you won't ever have to get me anything in life again. I would sit home, man, and just practice, watch all the other kids outside doing what they do, and I'd just be in the house doing, chicky. And I remember my mother came home one day, and she said, Lazarino, ¿qué tú haces? Que vas a romper el disco con el chicky. That's what she called the scratching. She called it chicky. I wanted to take it to the next level. I wanted to make my own records. I wanted to be on the radio. And I got that opportunity when a guy named Bob Rosenberg called up. He was the head mixing DJ at Hot 105. Bob called me and said, hey, they just fired a guy named Phil Jones, and I recommended you for the job. And they said, if you recommend him, then he's in. Tell him he's got to start tonight at Luke's Club. And it was a live broadcast from Strawberries. I got a call from the program director the next day of Hot 105. He said, hey, I heard you on the radio. The mixes were awesome. The client loved you. I heard the crowd loved you. Congratulations, you got the job. Come in Monday and fill out paperwork. Whether it was 2 people, whether it was 20,000 people, I always loved to put on a show. I did Hot 105 for about 3 years. Then I moved over to Power. Spent 22 years of Power.
On demand.
Shaggy is gonna be with us live. I gotta play. You want it bad enough, you'll just figure out a way to do it, and I did. I would sleep on the couch for 2 hours at the club after the night before I went straight to the radio station to do the morning show. I slept in my car. I mean, you name it. I did it. Growing up in a Hispanic home, Cuban parents, music was always around. My mom was a singer in Cuba. I had a record from Wilfredo Vargas called El Africano, Mami en Negro. And I remember taking that record, putting it on the turntable, having Clay D boot the booty on the left side, and I played boot the booty, and then I just said, let me see if this works. And I mixed in Mami en Negro. Tiene que estar loco. No. And it was magic. It was one of those things that hadn't been done. Nobody had done English music with merengue influences. Nothing like that had ever been done. I did it at a club that weekend to see what the reaction was in front of people. Everybody freaked out. Everybody was loving it. All the Latinos lost their minds. My first live performance of that Mami en Negro record, I opened up for Selena in Dallas, at Fair Park, with 20,000 people. Everybody in Miami knew Laz had a limp. That's where the Pimp with the Limp thing came out. But outside of Miami, they just, they knew a record. They knew the artist's name was DJ Laz, but they had no idea. The best shit in the world was stepping out on that stage, limping, and the initial reaction of everybody's like, oh shit, it's a... What the fuck? Rocked that show so hard that by the end of the show, nobody saw a limp, nobody saw nothing. They were like, yo, I don't know who this guy is, but I love him. I love his energy. I love the records. I love everything about him. And that was it. The number one thing that when people come to my house that leaves them in awe are the gold plaques, the platinum plaques, or just pictures of artists. It's sort of like, oh my God, you know that person, or you met that person, and you did that, and they gave you a gold record, and this, and the Pitbull, and the Kings of Crunk, Little John, and all sorts of stuff. Some of these things you do take for granted. Now, can that camera move? So let's just pan over here for a second. This is one of my absolute favorites. I had such a crush on Jennifer Lopez when she played Selena, because like I told you earlier, my first show that I ever did, I opened up for Selena. the radio station that I worked for at the time set up a let's surprise Laz type deal with J-Lo. And bro, I was like a little girl at a One Direction concert. Latinos weren't accepted back then as well as Latinos are accepted now. Now it's cool to be Latino. When you can get down, whether it be a Spanish club, whether it be a hip hop club, whether it be a dance club, an open format club, shit, the possibilities are endless. That's what artists want. Artists want that DJ that has that influence that can reach people so their music can be heard. And one that sticks out in my head is Pitt. I remember Pitt brought me countless records before he brought me the one. And I remember I would tell him, no, that ain't it yet. No, that's not the one. And I remember one day he's like, really? That's not it? No. And then he brought me one called Oye. And as soon as I heard Oye, I go, now we got one. He said, really? I said, yeah, really. Now we got one. That afternoon I played it on the radio and the phone lines lit up. People were saying, yo, who's this kid? Oh my God, this, play it again. And that was the beginning of Mr. Worldwide, of Pitbull. And I'm just glad I'm along for the ride. It's a lot of fun.
To me, man, my fuel was to make my parents proud. You know what I'm saying? They were my fuel as a youth growing up. You know, we all came as immigrants, you know what I'm saying, to the United States. And, you know, I seen my mom working, cleaning up offices. But I said, you know what, I don't want to see myself years from now, you know, doing that. I want to do something different and make my parents proud. So yeah, it was definitely them.
I wanted to make my father proud, may he rest in peace, that I decided to do something and I succeeded and I made it far and I inspired.
I myself come from immigrant families. My father's from Mexico, and there are some things that he did in his past that he's not proud of, but he did it to survive. Now, he's given me that torch as a Latino being American to where like, run with it, baby, because we have no choice but to make it. Because if we didn't make it, we didn't have family here, we didn't have anybody to rely on, and we are building the businesses, we are the presidents of the companies. So the good thing about our families coming here is that we are Latinos, but this is our home. We've made it our home, and we're all a family, no matter where you're from. And like I said, every kind of business there is, Latinos are always a part of it, and that's exciting, and that's it makes me feel good being a Latino.
I think of Miami and I think of the American dream. When a Latino outside of the United States looks at America and thinks of the American dream and making it for their families and for themselves, I think of Miami. That is what Miami is. Miami is successful Latinos. You walk out your door, that's where you see everywhere. You see streets named after Latinos. You see politicians that are successful Latinos.
Without Latinos, Miami wouldn't be here. Latinos have come here and done a lot of positive things, not only in Miami, but in all other communities around the country.
Everything we've all accomplished here, nothing's been given to us here. As far as, you know, Latin and Hispanic in Miami, I pretty much think, you know, they built Miami pretty much.
Not only are we here to stay, we're going to continue to dream, we're going to continue to influence. We're a hard-working class of people.
I see the growth, man, of the Latin culture. I mean, it's almost like, damn, can it get any bigger? I see it, man, just continuing to be the heartbeat that keeps this beautiful city that we live in flowing.
We're no longer the minority, we're the majority. On top of that, our hustle is just disgusting. We don't take no for an answer. Hard work doesn't scare us. Sleep, do that when we die. We're not gonna fail. Fail is not an option.
That's one thing about us. We have heart, we have love for each other, we're always helping each other out. I'm really a proud American, even though I'm Latino, because I'm taking advantage of the American dream. And that's what we do. Latinos have heart and Latinos have hustle in their heart.
When the sun shines through my blinds,
I know it's that time.
What time is it?
Time to get up.
Huh?
And grind.
Let's go. Rise and shine, better wake up. It's time to get your cake up. Don't never let nobody hold you back from getting this paper. I done made a name in these streets, scuba hot like the equator. It's about time I got some haters. I make sure they catching vapors. My CD one hell of a quaker. Money can tall as skyscrapers, but it do yourself a favor. Stay on your grind, cause it's money time. Gotta get that dough, one thing for sure, I ain't never gon' fail. You can see it in my eyes, nigga, can't you tell? Like a working parcel, bitch, I'm about my meal. I'm tired of pulling capers, I'm just trying to go legit. Ain't got time for no wage, y'all, I'm just trying to get a check. I want a house in no acres, just so I can say it's mine. Maybe someday I get a record deal and I can sign my name on the dotted line. I'm like, fuck sleeping and dreaming, bitch, I'm wide awake and I'm scheming. I'ma need my neck and wrist to be gleaming. Finna shine for no apparent reason. So what's your motivation? Put it into your deprivation. Rise and shine, my nigga, time to get this money with no hesitation. When I wake up in the morning, I see dollar signs. Got money on my mind soon as I open my eyes. Tryna stack the paper, so I'm on the grind. Rise and shine, it's money time. And I ain't never been the type to wait for it. I ain't never ever been the type to wait for it. I'ma chase this paper and stay on the grind. Rise and shine, it's money time. I done got tired of pinching pennies, now I'm on the money making friends. And I'ma get it all on my own, just know I ain't never been friendly. I wanna rock new J, stay trendy. Pull up to the club with the roof missing. Try to live that life, nigga, party hard and dog all these whole life Spud McKenzie. I started off with the OZ and the all black Chevy ride 4D. Then when D turned me into the middleman, I started moving them pounds at the BP. 27103 was me, E3 and the GTP. If you needed that work, you had a shot with me. We had the block sold up, it was plain to see. Gotta hustle hard, stay on your grind, that's the moral of the story. I just know one day I'ma make it big, so I ain't got no worry. Cause I'm a young Chico with a sick ass flow. Shut shit down everywhere I go and keep a big bankroll, nigga, where far I go. I got all the bad bitches at my show. And shout out to my real niggas, they held shit down since day one. When I cash out with that rap check, we gon' hit the town and we all gon' start. If you putting in that work, let everybody know it's your time to shine. Put your hands in the sky, let me hear you say it's money time. When I wake up in the morning, I see dollar signs. Got money on my mind soon as I open my eyes. Tryna stack it paper, so I'm